Hello, everybody. This is Brian. That is Adam. We are the Chocolate Bros, and we are here with another episode of our chocolate tasting show. We are the Chocolate Bros because we're bros and because we own a chocolate company called Fortunato Chocolate. You can find us at www.fortunatochocolate.com. Online, the interwebs. We also have a retail store, 2 retail stores in Issaquah, Washington, just east of Seattle. We own it. The chocolate that we make at our company is made from pure Nacional Peruvian cacao. I lived in the jungle in Peru for 10 years, lived in Peru for 15 years total. We have this chocolate company that makes chocolate and confections from that chocolate from Peruvian Nacional beans. But here's the thing. It's warm, and we don't use thermal shipping materials. So during the summer, our business tends to go down a little bit. And a lot of our customers that like to order our chocolate online can't do that because it'll melt en route. So we wanted to do a show that's about us reviewing chocolate that our customers can probably find in a grocery store or a Target or a specialty store near them. So what we're doing is we're reviewing chocolate from other brands, both because we want to be of service to the general internet public and to our potential customers, and also we eat a lot of our own chocolate. And we wanted to taste other chocolates and see what else is out there and kind of gauge ourselves against them. And also just keep our palates intact and just be of service to the chocolate community. Maybe we can unearth a little gem that we can suggest to some people that can't order our chocolate in the summer. And now they can order this chocolate or buy this chocolate at the store. Adam, what have I missed? What did I say wrong?
Well said. I noticed that anytime we mention a store where people might be able to find this chocolate, it's always Target.
Well, because there's a Target right near our office.
You might be able to get this at a grocery store or Target.
Or Target.
Maybe Target.
Could be a gas station.
I remember listening to an interview with the famous rapper Ice-T.
Yes.
You know Ice-T?
Ice-T, yeah.
And someone
he's your pusher.
Yeah, that's the song. That was the famous song. And
I'm
Colors.
I'm your pusher.
And Colors. Colors. And he said, people ask me, hey, Ice-T, you're rich. Do you still shop at places like Target? And he said, yeah. And they said, why? You're rich. Why would you go to Target? He said, well, I go to Target when I need stuff they sell only in Target. If you need like a dustpan, where are you going to go?
A dustpan with a red Target thing on it.
Where are you going to go? Only Target.
That's
So I'm the one who chose this bar here. And let me show it to you. Today we're going to be reviewing this Lily's sugar-free bar. This is their crispy rice with dark chocolate. I've seen Lily's in a lot of places. I would say Lily's.
Where did you buy this in Target?
I did not. I got that at QFC.
At QFC, okay.
Up the street from our house.
Which, for those of you who don't know, that's a grocery store. It's a Kroger branded grocery store that is common in the Seattle area.
And so I think I think Lily's is probably the premier sugar-free alternative sweetener chocolate brand. I don't know if that's true all over the country, but I think in the Pacific Northwest, it's certainly true. Also, we have some experience with developing a sugar-free bar.
That's right. We have a 73% stone ground dark chocolate
with monk fruit,
sweetened with monk fruit, and we get requests sometimes for sugar-free products. If Lily's the leader in that space, we want to kind of see what's out there.
And I could say it took us a long time to develop a sugar-free bar. It is not that easy to develop a sugar-free bar. Brian, you've mentioned on previous shows that one of the reasons that cane sugar works so well is because it sweetens, especially if it's has the molasses removed.
Right.
It sweetens without imposing too much additional flavor onto the cacao. Whereas we've noticed that your other sweeteners like monk fruit or stevia have their own flavor profiles.
Some people try to use honey, which is high moisture content, and it gives a definite flavor.
Yes, so they have their own flavor profiles, and then also they have their own textural and processing issues that make them difficult to work with.
Right.
It took us well over a year to come up with a bar that was a dark chocolate with an alternative sweetener that we felt good about.
It's easy to make something. It's hard to make something that's good enough to go on sale.
Yeah, and now Lily's has a whole line of products. I know they do peanut butter cups. They got milk chocolates, dark chocolates. I chose one that seemed interesting to me. It's the dark chocolate with crispy rice.
Let's talk a little bit about this product.
Okay, let's get into it.
We reviewed it a little bit before the show.
We read the packaging.
We read the packaging, and I have to say we've done this on every episode, and I'm gonna just say it. I find what's on the front and what's on the back to be in a little bit of contradiction. I don't know if they're trying to be deceptive. On the front it says crispy rice dark chocolate. Okay.
And then stevia sweetened.
55% cacao, stevia sweetened. And down here it says dark and rich. Dark and rich. Now, nothing about that suggests, it's 55% cocoa, which is not that dark of a chocolate. Nothing about that suggests that it's not just milk-free dark chocolate or that it's sweetened with anything but stevia. But when I read the ingredients, the unsweetened chocolate, dextrin, which I believe is a sweetener.
Why do you think that's a sweetener? Do you feel pretty sure about that?
I think it's a derivative of dextrose, which is a common sweetener, and erythritol. Those are two sweeteners that are listed before stevia. Then it says cocoa butter, organic crispy brown rice, milk fat. This is a milk chocolate.
It has milk chocolate.
This does not
yes,
say
it
milk.
has dairy.
It
has
says
dairy.
dark, and this has milk. It says contains milk, and then it has chicory root fiber. I don't know what that does. Sunflower lecithin, nothing wrong with that. All the way down, second from the bottom, stevia extract. So,
and also it has organic rice syrup as a sweetener.
Organic rice syrup, exactly.
So there are several sweeteners in here.
It seems to me that there are 3 sweeteners that are higher in content than stevia extract, but all that's listed on the front is stevia, and it says dark specifically 2 times, but it does not mention that there's milk fat. If somebody that is lactose intolerant was looking at the front of this, unless they checked this tiny little font, they would not know they're about to ingest a dairy product.
I will say this: people who are lactose intolerant sometimes can't eat milk chocolate. Mm-hmm. It's the fat that's in the liquid part of the. But still,
if you have milk in your chocolate,
I completely agree.
It should say milk on the front of the label.
It should, and also, we tried many iterations of trying to make a straight dark chocolate with just stevia extract. And it always comes out bitter.
Yeah, stevia is very bitter.
Because stevia it's very sweet,
and I don't think
but it's an herb that's very bitter.
I don't think there's de-bittered stevia. I'm not sure if that exists.
Yeah, so you can see what sort of happens here. When you try to make a stevia sweetened chocolate, it's hard to just make it with simple ingredients.
So they made it with other ingredients, but they were not forthcoming about that in the principal packaging. I'm just going to say it. I don't know anything about Lily's as a company, but I find this a deceptive label.
It's deceptive, and I think the reason why they do that is because they initially started their brand as a stevia-based brand, and as they've been branching out into other products,
they're more concerned with being on brand than on telling their customers a complete and accurate story.
Of course, all of that I'm willing to overlook if the
chocolate's good. So
if the chocolate tastes good.
Let's get into tasting the chocolate.
No, wait a second. I won't overlook it, but I will we will say that the chocolate is good if the chocolate is good.
By the way, the cardinal sin here is not saying that it's a milk chocolate. This says dark
Correct.
chocolate. They're very clearly hiding. I believe this is an active hiding of the fact that this is a milk-containing chocolate.
Well, and let me just say, sorry, one last thing before we move on. For example, our dark chocolate that we make, our 68% dark chocolate, it's just cocoa beans, a little bit of deodorized
additional cocoa butter
for
viscosity
texture,
purposes.
and organic cane sugar. Some bean to bar dark chocolates are just 2 ingredients, cacao and sugar.
Right, with no added cocoa butter.
So when you're just using cacao and organic cane sugar, you can make a really simple, stripped down dark chocolate. Once you get away from that formulation, you are sort of forced into these weird recipes.
Yeah.
In order to try to make something that approximates chocolate
Yes.
without using the sugar, which to me is almost what's the word? It's like throwing away the baby with the bathwater. Because you're trying to avoid sugar, you're torturing a recipe, and then you end up making it worse than if you just put some a little bit of cane sugar in there in the first place. All right,
so it smells like a grocery store milk chocolate.
it almost doesn't. This almost doesn't even have very.
What I'm smelling is sweetener. Honestly, I feel like I'm smelling the rice syrup.
It doesn't have very much cacao or chocolate aroma at all.
There's a lot of whatever the Rice Krispies are. There's a lot of them in there. You can see. I don't know if you could. Yeah, that shows in the camera.
Yeah.
You can see there's a pretty high inclusion quantity there.
There is, but I don't get any strong cacao aroma off of this,
No, let's try this
especially for something that's supposed to be a dark chocolate. All right, you want to set it off or you want me to set it off? You go ahead. You go first, man.
Okay. The aroma I find not that great. That what comes through is almost like a grocery store, like a cheap grocery store like chocolate, that smell when there's like chemicals or corn syrup in there. Having said that, it's not sweet. I was expecting this to from the aroma, I was expecting this to be a little over sweet for me, but it's actually not sweet. The chocolate, okay, so it's a very high percentage of inclusion. The rice, the crispy rice breaks up, is a lot of the mass of it. The texture, it's a little gritty. It's not processed down to a real great fineness. The chocolate is unremarkable. I can't detect any particular notes from the chocolate.
It's very bland.
It's very bland. I'll give them credit for having done something not that sweet. I can't pick up any stevia because there's almost no stevia in it.
Especially at a 55%,
Yeah.
you would expect it to be sweeter.
Right.
Because a 55% is not a very dark chocolate.
The inclusions are there. It's almost like when you get to the bottom of the popcorn thing and you get a couple that are too hard, and the inclusions have a little hard point in them that texturally is not all that pleasing.
You also have exceptionally weak teeth.
Well, no, I'm just saying it does the texture of I'm texture sensitive. The texture of the inclusions is not uniform, and it's a little bit
Because I didn't find the rice to be total like hard like
no,
popcorn
not
crumbles.
all of it. There's a little nubbin point in it that was kind of off. That was just off texture. There's almost no flavor here. Honestly,
That's the main thing.
There's nothing to really hold on to.
So yesterday we reviewed this mint.
I can't taste rice. I can't taste cocoa. I can't taste anything.
Yesterday we reviewed this mint crunch bar by Equal Exchange. Now you pointed out that they were using CCN 51.
A very bland cacao.
Which I meant to bring up yesterday, but I'm going to bring it up now. Cacao made with CCN 51, which is an industrial hybrid, doesn't necessarily taste bad.
It's just bland.
It's just bland. It has very little flavor.
It's like if you go to a restaurant and get an unsalted dish, it's just poorly seasoned.
Yeah.
There's just not much there.
Yeah.
That's CCN 51.
And so
Or a grocery store tomato, a beefsteak tomato.
Absolutely.
It's a product that's made to transport well and produce well and grow uniformly, but it's not produced for flavor.
It's not.
There's just no particular flavor.
And so I think that makes CCN 51, like we tasted it yesterday.
Which is the predominant strain of
It is.
cacao in the world.
So it's a particularly good cacao, especially if it's well fermented and dried for inclusions.
Right.
As a vehicle for inclusions.
Right.
But this...
Now, this chocolate says nothing about the provenance of its cacao.
Yes, but also I would just say...
So we can assume it's bulk African.
I would say brown rice is a relatively flavorless inclusion.
Correct.
Right? It's a brown rice inclusion. It's like a Rice Krispie treat.
Organic, crispy brown rice. Yeah.
If you're pairing something like brown rice with a hybrid style cacao that's like a CCN 51, which this might be, it seems like it might be, because it doesn't taste bad.
Right.
It's just bland. This is not a good matchup for inclusions. You've chosen a bland cacao, and you've teamed it up with a bland, with a bland inclusion.
The mint stood out yesterday as very harmoniously included into the bar, both texturally and flavorfully.
Yeah.
This has dextrin, erythritol, brown rice, milk, chicory root fiber, stevia, and vanilla, and I can't pick up any of it.
They've got all this stuff in there, and it tastes like you're just eating a piece of like wheat bread. I mean, it doesn't taste like anything really.
No.
And it doesn't have exceptionally great texture.
Right.
Right.
And the aftertaste that's staying in my mouth is turning a little
and in
funky.
Fact, well, remember that the Who bar that we ate?
Yeah.
It was sweetened with coconut sugar.
Right.
And we found that bar to be flavorful.
Because you could detect the coconut.
You could taste the coconut sugar and whatever cacao they were using.
Yeah.
I think it was a better variety of cacao.
You don't have to be our chocolate, and you don't have to be what anybody says you have to be, but you got to hang your hat on something.
It's got to taste good.
Right. And so what they're hanging their hat on is stevia sweetened.
Yes.
But there's no note of stevia. There's just I think they have a deceptive label, and I think they've made a chocolate that's not the chocolate itself doesn't hang its hat on anything.
The chocolate itself is flavorless. So my question is, if you're going to drop, let's just say this costs $4 or $5.
Right.
If you're going to drop $4 or $5 on a bar of chocolate, you don't want to really buy something that just doesn't taste like anything really.
Yeah.
You're buying chocolate.
Right.
And especially if you're buying a dark chocolate, you're going out there to try to get something that tastes like good dark chocolate, even if it's not necessarily a gourmet dark chocolate or something real fancy.
Right.
You still are going out and trying to buy chocolate. And to me, it's not terrible.
Yeah, we've had inclusion bars that hit the mark because the inclusion was so artfully blended. We've had chocolate bars where the chocolate was stellar. We've had a couple that were both we've had some really good. We've had some that was just actively bad. This is just actively meh, coupled with the fact that I really believe that they're intentionally
Yeah.
being deceptive with their packaging,
I agree with that.
I got to give it a thumbs down. I wouldn't eat it again, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, and I think this is more expensive than your regular bar because
they're
it's a
trying to set
specialty
this
bar.
apart as a specialty
Yeah,
bar, but
yeah.
there's nothing special. It's lacking any sort of specialness, and I believe they're being deceptive.
Yep, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's-
So
I don't know what else to say about it.
So that's
And you can, here's a great way to know. There's no information about the cacao. There's no information about anything.
although in fairness they do say it's fair trade.
Do they?
Yeah, I think it says fair trade, cocoa and vanilla.
Fair trade cocoa and vanilla. But do you notice that they don't have the fair trade seal on it?
No, they do not.
They don't
Yeah,
have-
they do. They have it up here on the front.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
Okay,
so back off, Brian. Just back off.
All right. Well, so I'll give them credit. I'm not a big fan of fair trade, but it shows that they have some kind of consciousness that they need to do something for farmers. If that's their way of doing it, okay. Here's my guess. This is bulk flavorless cacao bought from a South American or African large growers cooperative that
But-
has fair trade certification.
But a lot of that African cacao.
It could also be Indonesian.
I think it might be CCN 51. I might be wrong.
It could be Indonesian.
Because a lot of that African cacao has that really traditional sort of dark chocolate, African style dark chocolate
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah, this is not.
This is missing flavor. This is
Yeah.
not flavorful.
And we can't tell where it was produced, where the cacao came from, who produced it. I don't know what to say, but this one was a resounding miss for me.
I give it a thumbs down for the reasons that you've stated on the packaging, but also just
The
because
chocolate too.
Just because it's so bland.
Yeah, I can forgive all that if they put out a superior product. It's an inferior product.
It's so bland. So, all right, Lily's. Now, that is not to say that maybe some of their other products are
Absolutely.
good. But I would think that any Lily's product with a dark chocolate base, maybe they have milk chocolates, or I mentioned their peanut butter cups.
Well, this is a milk chocolate.
It is, but it says dark chocolate.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You can't trust it.
I know, but anything that's labeled dark chocolate is likely using this same dark chocolate as
Almost
the base.
certainly.
And it's not a flavorful dark chocolate.
That's correct.
So that's gonna influence almost any product they make with their house dark chocolate.
Yeah, and just a final note, not to pile on Lily's, but the lingering aftertaste is pretty foul.
It is.
It's not that good.
It's an industrial flavorful, sort of flavorless cacao.
Yeah.
With a bitter tail.
With a bitter tail. That's
Yep.
right.
All right, so that's it.
Other than that, though, we
hey,
loved it.
Lily, hey, Lily, if we see you run into you in the street, don't
That's
be
right.
mad at us.
Yeah, no, Lily, we're just trying to be honest out here. And you know what? Come by the store, taste some of ours. You want to
We'll compare
make
notes.
some comments?
We'll compare notes.
We'll listen constructively.
We ran into Mr. and Mrs. Toblerone right after we did their review. It was water under the bridge. They didn't
You know
take
what?
it personal.
Nah, it's never personal. It's just business.
Now, if you want to see if we have the goods,
That's right.
if we deserve to be able to critique other people's chocolates,
Yes.
check us out at www.fortunatochocolate.com.
That's
If
the
you would
place.
like to be notified when new episodes of these reviews come out, maybe subscribe.
Subscribe, smash like,
Smash it.
hit that little thumbs up,
Smash it, give
Hit
us
it.
a like. Yep.
click it,
And you
press
can
it, tap it.
And we're being pretty consistent about doing one of these every weekday.
Yes.
So if you subscribe, then you can count on getting a notification just about every weekday that there's a new review, and that will give you some pointers about which chocolate in your grocery store might be really, really delicious. Brian,
Absolutely.
any parting words?
I say thank you for listening.
Good day.
A good day to you, sir.